Hey, what's going on, guys? It's about 3:18 in the morning. I have to be up and awake in 5 hours. I'm exhausted, but I still feel like rambling, so I guess I'm gonna record this, like right now of all times. While I guess I still have breathing room in life because I've been fucking overloaded with hours at work. But I've been waiting for a while to record this video. Either I never really got around to it, or like whenever I felt like it, the timing was just bad. Considering certain things, I will explain later, most likely, unless I forget. But this is the story of the entire situation with Raymond Brooks up to this point. There's going to be bias, there's going to be perspective, there's going to be some closure, there's going to be some apologies, there's going to be admitting to a lot of mistakes pertaining to this. There's going to be a lot of shit. Um, for the most part, unless I forget. I might make a follow up, I might not, I don't know. It just depends on what kind of time I'm looking at as far as like free time, right? So, this all started in the summer of 2016, and I know this for sure because that's when I moved to Grapevine, Texas, to see my dad. Because I was born and mostly raised in Ohio, and I met my dad once when I was 13 for the first time as a teenager. I stayed with him uh, throughout the summer of that year, and the next year, 2016, I lived with him for about 2.5 years. So from about, well, I mean, maybe like 2 complete years. I don't know. Pretty much, I moved in with him around the summer of 2016 and moved back to Ohio in the summer of 2018. But uh, kind of irrelevant, but kind of relevant maybe depending on how you look at it. But pretty much, so I was a prolific Vine user, man. Vine was my platform. I fucking loved Vine, hella. I made a lot of close friends on there, friends that I still keep in touch with to this day. But pretty much, I ended up running into Brian Silva, right, the Gratata guy, right, and I was doing some research on him. I was looking him up on YouTube and stuff as well as Vine, and I kept bumping into more and more content of him. Like he had a whole Tosh.0 episode dedicated to him, or at least based around him, and he also made bad music. So I was listening to his freaking music, and I was on some backpacker shit. I ain't even gonna lie. Like he was posting fucking dog ass music, and I remember vividly. I would post like, because as I said, I was a backpacker. I was obsessed with old school hip hop, man. Especially like fucking just I guess like top of the iceberg shit. Like fucking Dr. Dre, N.W.A., Eazy-E, fucking Eminem, just on that kind of level of cringe. So fucking like as a young teenager being like, yeah man, fuck Fetty Wap and fucking Future and all this shit coming out now. I didn't like it. I don't like it. Fucking and so I was no, I shit you not, I was fucking going into these videos and sending links of like real motherfucking G's, thinking that I was on some shit, thinking I was on some fucking like holier than thou because I listened to fucking music I think is better, whatever type of shit. It was fucking so stupid. But yeah, I was just sending links to that shit in the comments back when you were able to do that, and I ran into a particular comment from our good old friend Raymond. Right, I didn't know who this guy was. Um, so pretty much he left a comment saying like, "Hey guys, I'm a upcoming screamo emo rapper or whatever. Subscribe to me, fam. Haha. I'm just trying to get my views up. I'm trying to get my engagement up. Whatever the fuck, right? He pretty much was just self promoting on there. So, and I think he mentioned something about a sub for sub. So that also pulled me in. So I was like, all right. So I was like, I'm gonna check this dude out. I checked him out, and his music was cheeks, man. But it was, excuse me twice. It was cheeks to a point that it was really entertaining because of how bad it was, right? Like it was listenably bad. Like it wasn't like so bad that you couldn't listen to it. It was just actually the opposite. That's what made it like listenable. So I checked them out, and I was uploading like shitty commentary videos and like skits and stuff at the time, um, pertaining to Keemstar for some reason. Even though the skits had nothing to do with Keemstar besides like gnome jokes, but pretty much like I was making like shitty Leafy clone commentaries that were barely literate and didn't make sense, and skits that were filmed pretty shittily. So, I felt like, hey, some engagement would be cool, whatever. So, I checked his stuff out, gave him support, and I asked for support back, right? Because I made a whole video shouting him out while I was trying to gain my following. And I was like, hey, how come you never shouted me out back? I would ask him about that sometimes, right? Even though I supported him, I would leave him good comments. I would leave likes on his fucking stuff, and he never did that for me in exchange, right? So pretty much like he would just shout me out in the comments, but for some reason my 13-year-old ego wasn't like completely okay with that. It was a little bit like fucked up a little bit, not like too upset, but I was just like, okay, that sucks. I just made a whole video like verbally shouting you out and leaving your fucking like leaving a link to your thing in my fucking thing, right? Like I left your fucking shit in my stuff so people can click on it and check you out. So like, what gives, man? And I don't remember the answer he gave me on that, but pretty much he was just like, it was just along the line of like, you just didn't want to make a video or anything like that, shouting me out or whatever, right? So eventually, not that long after, me and him were acquainted with each other. He ended up getting into a beef with all these British kids on YouTube because I don't know how he finds people. I don't know how he fucking finds these people, but pretty much he was like self-promoting in other people's comments, and they're British kids, so they're gonna be dicks. Like that's just like that's if that's one thing that's a constant, like it's like, dude, it was 2016 where everybody was telling each other to kill themselves and shit, and fucking everyone was kind of a dick, and it was funny. So it's like, bruh, like, what do you expect from a British teenager? Like, they felt really weird that, you being a 26-year-old man at the time was leaving comments promoting yourself, and, like, they were just like, bro, fuck off, bro. And he did not take that very well. He did not take it very well that people were like, bro, like, can you not? And so he was telling people to kill themselves also. Like, he was a grown-ass man telling a bunch of, like, young, barely, if not even 16-year-old teenagers to kill themselves because they didn't like that he was promoting himself in their comments, right? So that started a big thing. It was like several people involved. It was a freaking Greeno Screamo guy called Roniculo. I don't know if they're the same guy. I don't remember. But your boy Chazza and a guy called Sprango, right? So, it was a big thing. They were making videos about Raymond and how bad his music was. And so pretty much, and Raymond was pretty much blowing up their comments and making diss tracks on him sometimes or whatever. And then there came a point where initially I was in agreement with Raymond. I was on Raymond's side because I was a dumbass kid. I was like, yo, hey, let him promote himself if he wants to, whatever. And then once I saw that he was like saying all this fucked up shit to these teenagers, I was like, all right, that's not cool, man. That's really not cool. What the fuck? And then all of a sudden Raymond just went like, fuck you too then, right? And so he started saying shit to me. He started saying messed up stuff to me. And so then after that, I was like siding with the other guys, even though I made fucking commentary videos shitting on them and making fun of them in the worst possible way that wasn't even funny. Like, I wasn't even being funny about making fun of him. I was just like making fun of him and being just to be an asshole because I was like, hey, you're fucking talking shit about my friend. So yeah, so then the beef with me and Raymond started. And I was making a bunch of videos about him amongst a bunch of other people, and around that time, right, Raymond was putting himself out there and everybody else's audiences were kind of growing, so that just drew more attention to Raymond, and a lot of people were just clowning on him for being a weirdo. Every now and again Raymond would get some supporters of his music, And and as the community started to grow and there were more like regular faces to it, like it just it just became about clowning Raymond for the most part, just because he was a dick. And eventually, a guy called Devotion Z popped up into the picture, and uh, he did some digging on Raymond's channel at the time, and this is where all the accusations are starting to come from. So there was a playlist of Raymond's. This is like however many months down the line, by the way, like after like just routinely all of us talking shit to each other, but pretty much Devotion Z found a playlist in Raymond's channel at the time called Moy Yipo. I don't even know how it's pronounced in Russian, but pretty much it meant like my morning routine. And it was a bunch of like very young girls, couldn't have even been around the age of consent. Like they like I'd say like minimum like maybe 11 years old all the way up until like 16, maybe. And pretty much it was them wearing like pajamas and stuff, but it was a little like scantily clad, if you will. So like a lot of predators from around the world found out that this is like an exploit to watch like softcore like child exploitation material, basically. So there were a lot of predators in the comments of these videos, time stamping like to where like I don't know, let's say like a girl was like bent over or something, and all these dudes. There were dudes like trying to get into contact with these girls. There were all these dudes saying all kinds of nasty stuff. Like you could go into XNXX and look in their comments, and that was like the equivalent, but different, watered down because like it was a whole different ball game. So like just a whole different platform. I mean, so after we saw that, as well as another playlist called Sexy German Women, which he spelled women like he switched out the E and the O. Pretty much, it was like softcore porno in a way. Like it was like nude women, or at least like basically like the equivalent of like fucking like like bikini videos, twerking videos, whatever. And then there was the Catch Me Outside girl when she was like popping off and famous, which she was like 14, 13 to 15 at the time, give or take, like just around that ballpark. Maybe most likely 14 if I remember right. And there were videos of her twerking on Instagram Live, and there were deep fakes of her twerking before like AI, of course, way before that time. So people were like editing pictures of her on women twerking, like, which some of it was just downright fucking like so ridiculous. It was like it's the equivalent of like I don't even know actually what the equivalent of it would be, because like it would be a picture of her face edited behind a woman's head. So it's like on some Exorcist shit where her head was like basically turned around if you really whatever. It was just fucking weird. But we mowed through that playlist and we're like, what the fuck? So yeah, we were calling him out for that shit. So we had a whole different thing to call him out on, and then after that it just became general knowledge that Raymond had all this weird shit. And mind you, this is like 2016, around maybe 2017 when we found that out. So he was like 26, 27. His birthday's in January, so like you're like pretty much at the beginning of the year. So he was 26, 27. And pretty much that just became general consensus. Like, is that okay? Raymond is a fucking weirdo. He clearly is a predator if he's liking this kind of stuff and putting him in a salacious playlist like this. Like, there would be of age women, and then there would just sprinkled in would be a bunch of minors. So there were times where I wish that we had the proof now, but it's all disappeared with time. I might need to do some digging through my archives. I tried, but there was so much shit because I was like, I don't want to lose fucking whatever I had on my phone, because I had videos I thought that were funny, and then they're not funny now, right? Just shitty, cringy Vine memes or whatever. But and also like skits that I was trying to edit together that I just wasn't able to because fucking circumstances, life, and being a teenager. So I'd have to peel through all that to even find some stuff, but pretty much there were all kinds of shits out, like screenshots of him hitting up little girls and saying weird shit to them. Like, it wasn't like overly sexual, but it was just weird. Like, there was this one little blonde girl. I think her name was like Taylor or something, right? Just take this with a grain of salt, okay? Because this is just anecdotal. You don't need to believe me on this one. I'm just telling you what I saw. This had to have been around 2017. But he was calling her baby girl and was like trying to give her his like number, which was sick because she was clearly not even like 10 years old. You're calling some other person's kid someone you don't know, right? She's white and she's on the internet, and I don't know why that's important, but like straight up like blonde hair, blue eyes type shit. Like, why? What business do you have calling some child baby girl on the internet when you're a 27-year-old stranger? You know. So, yeah, an audience was forming. You know, our all of our audiences were collectively forming, and a lot of people were fucking were watching this as it was going on. A lot of my old circle from Vine was finding out about it because I was telling them about it and I was posting memes about them. Um, so this one time, um, he tried hitting up somebody I knew on Instagram, and she was like 15 at the time, but pretty much she ended up like blocking him because he was looking through my followers at the time too. So pretty much he looked through my followers. I hazily recall this because this is like one of the weirder instances. But essentially, I was following one of my classmates from school, and I was also like fucking harassing Raymond on Insta at that time, and Raymond hit her up and fucking and so she blocked him because she was like, what the fuck? And next thing you know, I was like, all right, well, you like, she was asking, she told me about it because I was telling her about this guy that I was fucking with, and then this was such a hazy fucking memory because I was in transition of moving, but this is one of the mistakes I will admit to. So I had her remake the conversation, and then it became a meme, pretty much. Like, I had her remake the conversation with a fake Raymond account, and pretty much then I uploaded it as if it was the real thing. So I falsified something that was real. I guess it was more a dramatization of what happened. And speaking of fake accounts, right, this is another facet of the time. Raymond had a bunch of fake accounts. This was back when you could make a shitload of them, right? He made a bunch of them and he boosted up his engagement. He would leave like fake comments that were clearly from him, and he would leave a bunch of likes on his stuff. And back when the dislike bar was a thing, he would spam fucking dislikes on people he had problems with, and he would leave a bunch of fucking shitty comments on from those accounts. And eventually, that got put to an end. After time went by, either because he got too tired or because he fucking wasn't able to make any more emails. I don't know. So after a bunch of time passes by of Raymond pretty much just on some weirdo shit, and all of us were calling him out on it all the time, we were making video after video talking about it. There came a point where like the base community was formed, right? It was me, a little bit of Ghost Macintosh. It was Ingle Digital, back then known as the Natty Professor. There was Almighty 7AK, also known as Tone. There was Southside. There was JJ Blanco. There was all kinds of dudes involved, right? And so pretty much all of us, since, you know, Raymond was pretty much the pedophile of the year at the time, according to us, we tried to sabotage him, right? We dug into his other social medias. We saw on Twitter he kept leaving likes and retweeting pictures of like Asian women that looked fucking way too small, right? Like on some chibi shit, like chubby cheeks, like face cheeks, and then there's just like of their butt cheeks, like just like panty shots of these women, as well as, you know, like pretty much like NSFW modeling, right? And so JJ Blanco, one time me and him were on the phone, and I was like, hey bro, like I threw out that you should just try to call his job and try to get him in trouble for this shit, because we didn't. It was mostly for the pedo shit, but I was like, this is like the most evidence we have at the moment, right? Besides those playlists or whatever, but I don't even know. I was just like, just tell them what what we know, and after that we're just trying to get him fired. So Raymond also had a problem with sharing his personal information. That's why we knew where he worked, because he said he worked at Food Lion, which is like it's a grocery store out in Virginia, where he made no bones about that he's from there and that he lived there. Um, he would put out his own information all the time. He put out his address. He put out his fucking phone number. He put out where he worked at. His fucking username was his full name at a point. And so it's like we just used what we were given. So it was no problem calling his job, because there was only like a couple of Food Lions in the area. So JJ Blanco, I was like 13 or 14. I just remember telling JJ, who was a grown ass man at that point, like he should do it, and then he just did it. Um, so he called the Food Lions, and apparently he got Raymond fired, but that's unconfirmed. We don't know that yet. We called this garage after a while, trying to get him fired. Some weird mechanic joint, I guess he worked at, whatever. Tried to get him fired from there. We really don't know what happened, but um, this was also like around the time when we found out that he was grooming a girl who was around my age, right? She's like barely younger than me. So I don't remember when we found out about this or how, but essentially we found this girl named Sierra, and she refuses to come out about this publicly, because this shit brought her a bunch of stuff. But apparently she met Raymond on Omegle back when that was the thing, and she said she was like 11 or 12 at the time. So this predates me even knowing Raymond existed. But pretty much, she said she lied about her age and said that she was like 16 at that time when she was 11 or 12, and Raymond still, like, got the digits and groomed her a while. And so eventually, according to Sierra, she told him her real age at a point, and then he just kept going. He just kept being on some shit with her. He kept grooming her. And this is going to come up later. Now, take what I said just now with a grain of salt, because I don't know what is absolute fact. This is just what I was told. There is 1,000,000% certainty, like the general agreed consistency, even with Raymond, right? Raymond even agreed that she lied about her age, but he never said anything about still pursuing her. She said he still pursued her, and by the time me and her started talking on a personal level, Raymond was still trying to pursue her when she was like 20, which is weird as fuck. Like, even if, like, let's say, like, in a different reality, let's say something happened to where he found out her age and cut her off, why are you trying to hit her up when she's 20? That's kind of weird. Pretty weird. That's still weirdo shit. Anyways, now. So, around that time, we found out about that stuff, and I interrogated this girl once I found out about it. Once I found out about everything, and I didn't really get much out of her at that time besides like general outline stuff. Like, I was acting like I desperately needed to know, because I was invested as fuck into this, and I put a lot of pressure on her, which I feel bad about. Me and her talked about it like a couple of years ago, and she's like, all right, but sorry for being all over the place. I'm just trying to recall everything because there's so much to this. But backtracking a little bit, there was a base community, which I just explained, right? And so there was also this guy, Young Pak, too, who would make music with Raymond from time to time. And after all the pedo shit came out, or all the playlist stuff came out, that's when he stopped talking to Raymond completely. That and just fucked with him or whatever, on and off. I think I'm gonna have to ask him about that if he ever hits me up, or if I ever hit him up. But basically, there came a point where um, Raymond gave Young Pac access to his channel, right? Like Raymond was like, "Hey man, I need to change my banner or something, and like my background for my channel." And Young Pac was like, "All right, I'll help you with that." So Raymond gave Young Pac his information, and Young Pac logged into Raymond's account and just wiped everything. He just deleted all the videos and shit. And Raymond was really pissed about that. And Young Pac, mind you, was like 13 at that time. Yeah, so there were a lot of songs that just weren't able to be archived, which sucks. So pretty much after that, that's when Raymond started going on a vendetta, like hardcore. He was always threatening to kill us, even though he knew we were minors. He was making, he made diss tracks before, but he made a lot more after that. He made like a whole 6 minute fucking diss track on everybody, man. Young Pac, your boy Chazza, Ranakulo, everybody, dude. He made like a whole 6 to 7 minute diss track on all of us. Fucking like saying all the shit about how he was gonna hit us with the extended clip and stuff, which is fucking buck wild because he was like 26 or 27. I remember, yeah, he was 26. This is still 2016. He fucking like he straight up says in the song, like I have a video somewhere. He said, "quote Young Pot can't even bust a fucking nut," and then he said, "I'm a 26-year-old fucking man. I fucked your own mama." Which is a wild thing to be saying, bro. That shit was fucking hilarious, high key. And he was doing it over like Chief Keef instrumentals. Like how he'd record his songs, he would have the beat playing, and then he would like record himself over it, but he wouldn't, like the MP3 wasn't clear, so you could clearly hear that he was like recording it along with like the song, the music, the beats coming out of the speaker, right? You could hear, like, he had his sound on too, so you could hear him press the record button in the beginning of all the songs at that time, which was pretty fucking funny. You needed to be crafty to make music just from your phone back then. But so after that happened, after Young Pac fucking wiped all of his shit, Raymond got more on the warpath, and he was threatening us even more, right? He was saying all kinds of horrible, fucked up shit. And around that time, too, all of us were fucking with him on Google Hangouts, and we were saying all kinds of fucking horrible shit to him. We were throwing fucking slurs at him. We were saying a bunch of shit about his family. We were saying a bunch of shit about him being a predator, this, that, and the third. We were, like, engaged and fucking with him and saying, just fucking taking our fucking anger out on him. All of us collectively, especially me. I was, like, the main fucking figurehead of the Raymond beef, even though there's stuff I didn't have to do with. Like Young Pac wiping his shit. But then that leads me to the second thing. I think this happened in 2017. The second time we got to his account. So Raymond ended up fucking basically, I don't know if he rebooted his account or if he made another one. Like, I don't know if he just like went factory reset mode on that one account, basically, like just reset the whole thing identity wise and everything, or if he like or if he just outright made another channel. But pretty much he made another channel, I think. No, he kept it, but he just wanted to like he was basically revamping it. Now I remember, he was basically revamping his channel, and he was friends with the Natty Professor at the time, so him and Natty Professor were talking like for a while, so he gained Natty Professor's trust. And so he wanted Natty Professor to help like edit his banner and his profile picture again. Like, he wanted someone else to do it because he couldn't do it himself, which, to be fair, at the time, right, too, like, I remember I had to download a browser extension pretty much to be able to have that kind of control over my YouTube channel, to fucking, like, you know, like, it's pretty much to change the fucking banner, right? Like, changing the profile picture was easy, but on your phone, you couldn't just change your banner. You needed to, like, fucking, like, get a bunch of resolutions correctly for whatever banner you wanted, and you needed to fucking, like, do it exactly, and you needed to fucking use the browser extension to fucking, like, log into your YouTube channel through, like, a fucking whole different browser to fucking, like, change that stuff. So So I halfway don't blame him, but he just didn't want to put the effort into it. I put the effort into that shit whenever I wanted to change my banner. Nowadays, you could just click a couple of buttons and fucking switch it out with a different picture, which is fucking weird. So, basically, we orchestrated a plan because Natty Professor eventually, I talked him into this. But essentially, I was telling Natty Professor, like, okay, well, what if you work with us and get us his account information, and then we'll just log in and spam midget porn just to finish his account off, because he already got shit wiped off twice. I want to make this one count, right? So, Natty Professor was like, all right, I'll see what I can do, and because he was telling me already that Raymond wanted to fucking like change his banner, so basically like pretty much at the same time, Natty Professor and Raymond were talking about like, yeah, man, I'm Raymond and I need my fucking banner changed. Me and Natty Professor were also talking about like, I really want to get this guy. So once Natty Professor agreed, I pretty much downloaded the audio to one of Raymond's songs and I overlaid it on top of like hardcore midget porn. And I was in the group chat on fucking Hangouts with the main community, and pretty much I sent the whole video in the group chat, and we were just waiting to get the password. So once I got the password, I shared it with everybody, made sure they downloaded the midget porn, and I made sure everybody like got into his account at the same time. So the first thing we did, as we were preparing, well, as like I was making the midget porn, I had everybody else downloading all of Raymond's videos. So pretty much what happened was they archived his videos, and then once I timed everything out, I was like, all right, right now, all of us log in, and all of us did log in, and then immediately deleted all of his videos, and immediately started spamming midget porn and uploading it. We uploaded like fucking dozens, if not hundreds. Like it was like 6 of us at the time, I think, maybe like 7 or 8. All of us at the same time were fucking spamming midget porn, and Raymond saw that and he started taking it down as we put it up. But the thing is, for every one midget porn video he took down, there was like 5 more to take its place. So his account got wiped. And he was extremely pissed. This was like a huge moment in the community because we just fucking took him down in the fucking most humiliating way. His music was playing in sync to a video of a midget like sucking on penis, and it was fucking awesome. So Raymond was on the phone with us afterwards because I wanted to hear his reaction, and he was fucking livid. He was screaming. He was losing his marbles. But one thing I want to mention too also was I was talking to this one chick, right? When I was in high school, I was talking to this one chick, and we were having an online thing until like she, I guess, started becoming like a Discord e-girl or whatever, but pretty much like she was exactly Raymond's type, except she was Blasian, I guess. So she had a really small voice and shit, and she was down for the trolling, man. But pretty much I was like, hey, you should make a video talking about how Raymond like diddled you, just, whatever. And then she made it, and it was the most funny shit I've ever fucking listened to in my life, because she made it dramatic as fuck. Like it was like there was like fucking horror piano music playing with like the ambience of thunderstorms, like she was telling a scary story, and I love that shit. So I put it up for a bit, and then it got taken down. So yeah, after that we were still taking shots at Raymond, we were still talking about him, whatever. And then Raymond made another account where he'd upload every now and again, and I'm trying to think, because there's probably a lot more of that fucking happened. It's just really hard to piece together the time, because it's literally been almost a decade since this all started. It's been like 9.5 years, basically. But, pretty much it was shots at Raymond all the time. Video after video. If I wasn't referencing him, then it was a video about him. But besides that, besides all the Raymond stuff, I started beefing with a bunch of other people over that stuff. I started beefing with a bunch of people over a million different things because YouTube just started getting extremely strict about their stuff, about like what's on fucking their platform, because pretty much like a bunch of advertisers started to pull out, so YouTube was just like folding under the pressure, as well as like trying to eliminate a problem as it was happening, which was usually like, like for example, terrorism. Like terrorists were using ad revenue to fund their fucking genocides and stuff, as well as like, people saying a bunch of fucking crazy shit and having ads play over it. So, it was just a whole mess, right? This was right when this was during the first adpocalypse. So, so pretty much a bunch of our shit started getting taken down all around, right? All around. We cussed too much. We said one out of pocket thing, whatever. Then fucking all of a sudden, right? We got like fucking a bunch of strikes to deal with. There were so many times my channel came so close to being terminated. That's not even funny. So pretty much, like, I remember I had a feud with fucking Jackal Goldkick, and I had a feud with Kadeem the King. Now, this was the Tony era, or the Tone era, whatever. So, I was about 14 or 15. Tone was like 15 or 16. Pretty much, he came clean in Instagram DMs saying that he exposed himself to his 9-year-old niece. And I was still a dumbass teenager. I wanted to save face, but at the same time, I didn't, like, I was friends with him for a couple of years, and I didn't, like, my thinking at the time. So the thing is, I scolded him privately, same with most of us, and that's, like, that entire situation caused a giant rift in the community, right? So, pretty much, Tone admitted to somebody in confidence that he exposed himself to his child niece, and then the DMs got leaked, and then he was making a bunch of videos like apologizing for what he did. And I thought at the time, because he was holding himself accountable, and since he was like, his brain wasn't fully developed, that he should get a little, not leeway, but like, I thought like, you know like I didn't think that like teenagers could be predators. It was so fucking stupid of me. I scolded him in private, like I said, but like as far as like out in the open, I never talked about it, and I defended that I shouldn't have talked, that I shouldn't, I shouldn't be able to, that I don't need to respond to this, and that made me a hypocrite at the time, because I was always talking about Raymond, but my defense for that at the time was like, all right, Raymond's like a pushing 30-year-old man, and this is like a kid that's not even old enough to drive yet. So I was just, on some ignorant shit. I did scold him. I was like, what the fuck? Why in God's name did you fucking do that? That's fucking horrible. That is fucking disgusting, dude. But I just thought that over time, he could redeem himself, and I was just being loyal to a fault to someone who is my friend. So, over time, I distanced myself from him. We did make a couple of songs together in the future, because the general consensus was like, so that's where it started a lot of beefs. I was beefing with Jackal Goldkick, and by extension, I started beefing with Kadeem the King, and then Kadeem the King started beefing with Jackal Goldkick, and it was just a whole it was just a whole shitfest of people making videos about each other, and videos getting taken down for saying shit that was fine to say like the year before. You know what I mean? So it was just a giant mess. But eventually, it all calmed down, and then everybody eventually started to agree with what I meant, or with what I was saying. With like, he was a kid. I mean, she was a kid too. She's a victim, but he held himself accountable, right? And he dealt with the aftermath like better than a lot of people would, as well as him admitting it to his family, as far as I understand. Maybe I'm wrong. But essentially, like, he, from what I remember, from what I was told at least, he told his family about it, in the heat of everything, and pretty much like, we were getting live updates from him, so pretty much like him and his family dealt with it, um, whatever way they did. I don't know what happened, so we just thought, well, at least I thought, like, hey, he got reprimanded, and if anything, this is just like a red flag. If he does some shit like this in the future, then may I be damned, right? So eventually, as I said, most people came around. Like, Kadeem was like, hey, bro, like, that shit was weird as fuck. We'll let it basically slide this time, but, like, we got eyes on you type shit. That's just generally the consensus. I think, like, that's what I was kind of saying, too, also. Like, not out loud, but, like, whenever I would talk about it, like, to anybody, that was just where I stood. It was just hella soon, I guess, but it was just like, I still feel like a fucking idiot for that to this day. For, as I said, I scolded him, but I just didn't think I did enough at that time. But over time, I gravitated from him, and we don't really talk like that really much at all. Because it was also just like, at the time, too, it was also like, well, at least fucking, well, it wasn't Raymond, it just wasn't Raymond. Like, I was just more focused on Raymond, too. And so it's just really weird to recall that too. There's a bunch of weird shit that was hard to recall. There's probably a million things I forgot to even mention about fucking the entire situation, really, just as a whole. It'll come back for sure. Like, I'll fucking remember at some point. But anyways, no. So after the Tony situation happened, that's when Young Phonics popped in, and also Jersey De Niro or Richard. As well as Dre Peso. So all those guys came around because the South Side, right? I think. I don't remember where he found. I know Southside is the reason, like, he found those guys, and they integrated as a part of the community, and so Young Phonics was a shitty rapper. Like, he had lyrics, but it's just they were too lyrical, spiritual, and shit, and also he was just cheeks. Jersey De Niro has a serious developmental, or no, like a mental disability, and Dre Peso was also kind of weird, but weird in a superficial way. Like, I don't know how to explain. Like, he bought all of his followers and he was faking it till he made it, but, like, at the same time, he didn't make it, but also, like, fucking, it was just so weird because there really wasn't a lot of personality to him. He just made fucking weird, shitty rap music, and I don't know, Young Phonics had a lot of character, Jersey De Niro or Richard had a lot of character, but the thing is, Young Phonics was always spurging the fuck out. He was losing his shit because people were trolling him. Southside was trolling him, and a bunch of other people. So then I started trolling him, and I got a bunch of reactions out of him. And then this was around 2018, I think. And also, I just want to mention too, in between Young Phonics saga and the, like, a little while after the midget porn thing happened, I was trying to reconcile after the fucking heat died down, basically, because it was just constant me and Raymond threatening each other and fucking saying horrible shit to each other, and eventually it just took a toll on me mentally, because I was also going through a bunch of shit at home, a bunch of wild fucking shit that I'll talk about probably at some other point, but it was just like fucking horrible home dysfunction. So eventually, when I came back to Ohio, I had a come to Jesus moment where, like, it was just bad for my health, right? Like, beefing with this guy. So eventually, over time, right, there would be periods, like, there would be like months at a time where I would leave Raymond alone. I wouldn't say anything to him. I wouldn't upload about him. If, in fact, I uploaded like a few different apologies, right, that I privated or deleted right now, because just like that I have deleted like some point in the future, because I was pissed at Raymond. I was like, I don't owe this guy an apology. What the fuck? But I was just trying to be the bigger person and trying to, like, at the time, just like, I was holding myself accountable for my mistakes, but also, like, just trying to apologize and try to move forward. So as I said, there would be periods, like months upon months, where I left this guy alone and he left me alone. He would still talk about me, but I left him alone. So the Young Phonics era kicks in, where we're fucking with Young Phonics a lot. And I was also making fun of Richard too, and that's when I was also collaborating. That's like when the whole Trash Can Records thing was going on too, where the Walking Contradiction with mixtape came out, and fucking I was making songs about like banging Richard and shit and all this other stuff. So like it was fucking horrible at the time, but I thought it was the funniest shit ever. It's like I was really picking on a fucking disabled person. Like that shit wasn't cool. It was funny at the time, to me and to other people, because like what the fuck is wrong with you? That shit's fucking, it was just funny, I guess, to me and other people because of how out of pocket it was, but it really isn't funny. But it was fun at the moment, and I really wish that it wasn't. I don't know if that sounds kind of fucked up, but so yeah, so we were fucking with all those dudes, making videos about them and stuff, and then it came out that Young Phonics was also on some weirdo time, because he's younger than Raymond, but older than me. So, apparently, other people were outing him for talking to kids, and eventually there was a whole expose that was put out about him that got taken down, and then I made one. Talked about like his Young Phonics' weird behavior, because he was doing all kinds of fuck shit. He was like claiming he was a Crip, then that he wasn't. He was saying a bunch of racist shit about Mexicans. He was like fucking he was on some like real weirdo shit, just wannabe fucking famous stuff. And he also had the fake account strategy, and also bought his followers instead of like putting in work like Raymond, fucking promoting himself on people's pages when they didn't want it. Instead, Phonics was paying with his fucking Walmart work money to fucking to get his fake followers. But so then there came a point where Young Phonics was apparently, I say apparently, but no, apparently, no, fuck. So Young Phonics allegedly, I guess, was sending CP to people, and Raymond was also one of those dudes. So we called Young Phonics out on that, and Raymond felt like this was a chance to fucking vindicate himself, and he was like, look at this guy, man, look at this guy, right? And so Raymond downloaded the unfiltered raw CP, or not even CP, it was just child exploitation material. You can't even call it CP, because that's not even what it is. Porn is like consensual, mostly, hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully, knock on wood. A lot of, like, if it's not like porn is consensual, anything else is exploitation material. So he had nudes of literal children, like children, and he sent that shit out. And then Raymond downloaded that shit and fucking was like sending it to people, like, look what Phonics did, bro, look what Phonics sent. And it's like, bro, you still have it. That does not make you look any better, bro. It's one thing to call that out, but it's a whole different ball game when you're fucking like when you're like showing the material because you have it on your person. That's fucking gross. Not even on your person, but on your phone. Like, you shouldn't have that at all, dude. Like, when it came down to exposing him and shit, like, anytime, like, I literally have people, like, edit shit onto the worst parts, so that just to show, like, we got evidence and shit. Someone should have reported him to the FBI at that point. I don't know why I the fuck didn't. I should have done that. But that didn't happen for some reason. None of us did it. I didn't do it. I should have. But so all that stuff was going on, and then pretty much the Raymond feud reignites because Raymond put himself back in that picture, I think. And then so pretty much it was just arguing and fucking threats and racial shit between me, Young Phonics, and Raymond. And Jersey De Niro just kind of disappeared after a while. Like, so, there was a little bit of trolling that I did to him in between also, but like apart from that, it was mostly just a bunch of bickering and videos being made and a bunch of memes being made out of these people. So Young Phonics was actually one of the few people that legitimately tried to make some shit about me that it didn't really work. So also around that time too, I was trolling the shit out of Young Phonics, and he was like calling my number. He leaked my number. He would like Photoshop me on some weird shit. He made a fake account of me on Facebook, I guess, and he manufactured a whole thing that made it look like I fucking sent a person, like, I was like, hey girl, how old are you? 13. Bet type shit. I don't even remember what the screenshot said, but he was like, hi, my name is Diaper Man, and I made a song about rape, and check this out, and it's just sent. He fucking made it look like I sent a link to my fucking first song, basically, and so that shit was fake as fuck. I think it's still up there. I don't even know, but fucking, it was just weird as fuck. It was really weird. And he also, I'm trying to remember, he also photoshopped me on some other shit too. He was trying to smear me because I was putting stuff out about him, and Raymond really wasn't doing nothing like that. So then Ghost Macintosh got involved with the picture after a while, and Ghost Macintosh pretty much was trying to put the kibosh on it because he also spent an unhealthy amount of time fucking with Raymond too. He devoted a lot of energy to fucking with Raymond and saying a bunch of horrible shit to him because he doesn't like Raymond, and I'm his friend. And also Raymond said a bunch of horrible shit to Ghost Macintosh, so Ghost took it some kind of way. And at first, too, one thing I didn't mention, Ghost Macintosh made videos talking about Raymond back then, too. And so Raymond made one of his most legendary diss tracks ever to him when Macintosh just went by Pop-Tart the Draft King. That shit was like the funniest diss track Raymond ever made on anybody. He was like, Pop-Tart, you are 12 years old. And he had a bunch of ad-libs that were fucking him just like, ooh, 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 yeah, ooh, ooh, yeah. But, it was fucking awesome. But so, then Ghost spent a lot of time. Oh, Jesus. I got a little bit of boobage. Jesus, man. I'm built weird. But, that shit, the ladies don't got a problem with it, man. They want to rub on my belly. Anyways, now. So, Ghost was trying to dissuade me from talking to Raymond anymore. Because, it was a useless exercise, and since Ghost also spent a lot of mental energy on Raymond, he just wanted, he wanted to move forward. He wanted to, because he realized that, this dude is a lost cause, because at this time he was around like 29, 30, because we progressed to 2019 now, or 2020, I don't even remember actually, shit, because as I said, a lot of this is jumbled up, and I'm trying to remember specific times because, fucking, I don't know. As I said, we'd go months at a time leaving him alone. We'd went months, maybe even pushing a year at one point without even fucking bringing him up. And so, hang on. So, so pandemic era hits, and the whole world was all fucked up. I didn't really remember too much from Raymond at that point. There's probably a lot of stuff I missed besides bickering and Young Phonics. But besides that, 2022, 2023 rolls around. Raymond's 32, 33. This is when Ghost Macintosh was dissuading me. He was like, hey man, we can do this together. We can just try to make amends, because it's been half a decade at this point since we started fucking with him. So I think we could just try to make this right with him, with us as adults. All of us are grown now, so whatever. And then as we were trying to do this, right, Raymond, I don't know if he bought a gun or if he 3D printed one, but he also bought a red shiesty, which he didn't wash. So he made a whole account. I don't know what happened, because his new account that he ended up making, where he started posting songs again for the third time, his third round of music, I don't know if he lost access to it or what. I really can't recall, but he wasn't uploading it. He was just leaving a bunch of comments, so he had access to it, so he just wasn't uploading anything after a while. He would upload once maybe a year or something, or several months, maybe even 2 years, I don't know. But pretty much So around that time, he started making videos of him waving his fucking weird little gun around, which doesn't look like it can even do anything. He was threatening to like kill us and stuff, and he was threatening us all around. And then we would get those videos taken down, so we would tone down his language. He would also bring up the tone situation and try to use that as ammunition. Um, he would be like, "Yeah, but tone, man, but tone," and just kind of like devaluing what he himself did by using what Tone did. Mind you, I wasn't talking really to Tone at all. Like, he popped into a stream every now and again, and then he would try to talk to me, and then I was hi, or whatever. And Tone really wanted people to try to forgive him because apparently he changed, which part of me believes that, but then again, I never talked to him that much, but he never really seemed to be weird after that because Tone was actually really chill. It's just he funked up real bad. And a lot of us wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt for that, as well as him being young. Whatever. I explained all that earlier. So, um, so Raymond would constantly bring that up. He would always bring all that stuff up, and he would talk about how he was like defending his use of the playlists and stuff. He was defending all that stuff. Like, no, man, I like we actually recorded the interactions here. But pretty much like for the next like several months, like the first since we first were trying to make amends with him, for the next several months it was a balance. It was a juggling act of like showing him that, hey, we don't want problems with you anymore. We don't want to think about you. We don't want you thinking about us. We need to move on as adults now. And he would keep saying like, I don't trust you at all, man. What if this is like another attempt at whatever? And then like, so we would like, we were trying to make it up to him, however way we were able to. We were trying to make it right with him, like with whatever. But he kept fucking pushing, and he kept reverting back to threatening to kill us, making videos about us, whatever. And then eventually, time and time again, we'd fall back into it. Me and Ghost, we would fall back into fucking beefing with him again, on and off. It was like an abusive relationship. Like, it was fucking sad, actually. Because we were trying our best, man. We were really trying our best to fucking try to make it right with him however we could so all of us could move on, right? Which I don't even know why the fuck we're doing that with a predator. Or at least a weirdo. So, before we tried making it up to him, though, one thing I forgot to add. So, I did hear from him before that. The part of the bickering, so basically, we found out that Raymond had a snap, right? Me and JJ found out Raymond had a snap, and pretty much JJ gave me that shit, and so I also found Sierra's snap. I don't remember how. I don't remember how I got into contact with her again, but pretty much I wanted to get back into contact with her just to see what was going on, try to get some more information, and as well as to talk to her. So, high key, me and Sierra were like in the talking stage for a bit, and we didn't even really talk too much about Raymond. But the thing is, right, Raymond, I think Raymond actually gave me her account. I don't remember, but what I do remember is that we were all in a group chat together several times, and she just didn't want anything to do with it, and she didn't really want anything to do with Raymond, according to her. Anyways, she would tell me that Raymond would try to add her a bunch of times, but she would fold. Right, she would like just add him back and indulge in whatever that he was talking about, and then fucking whatever, and then she would tell me about what she was talking about after like fucking I got in the picture. So pretty much like so me and her were on a talking basis, and I was like, what if we just cucked Raymond? So I high key fucking cucked him with the chick he was grooming, which is kind of fucking weird. Not weird, but just crazy as fuck, I think. It wasn't weird because she's my age, but point being, right, like I high-key cucked him, and he did not like it, so he was threatening to kill me a bunch of times. So I reported his messages on Snapchat, and his Snapchat got taken down because he was threatening me. So, that's what happens when you break the terms of services. If you get reported and, it gets reviewed, way before AI, that's what happens. Your shit gets taken down. So then he held that as a grudge. You took my fucking Snapchat down, bro. And also, he would do that shit on Instagram too, so I would report his messages on Instagram, and I would be careful about what I would say. I would fucking instigate him a little bit, I ain't even gonna lie. And then I would get him to say some horrible shit or threaten us, and then he would get removed. Same with a bunch of other people. They would do the same thing. They would just troll him a little bit, provoke him, and then report his shit and take it down and get his shit taken. So that happened with I don't know how many Instagram accounts and at least 1 or 2 Snapchats of his. So anyways, so me and Sierra stopped talking because a bunch of personal shit came up in her life and her mental health was tanking. Same with mine. So we just ended up gravitating away from each other, and she removed me, and she would hit me up. Like, she hit me up like one time ever, and then I tried hitting her up, and it just didn't, just to no avail. So I don't think there's any chance of really getting any information in the future, but maybe, who knows. Anyways, so that's when she admitted to me that she did lie about her age, but then she told him after a while, and then he just kept going, and then, you know, and I felt like him still hitting her up to this day, well, at least at the time, to that day, was kind of proof of that, but I really don't know, right? You can't, you know, always, you know, 2 and 2 doesn't always mean 4, it can mean fish. But anyways, so there came a whole different era. It was just us trying to apologize to Raymond and trying to fix shit with him so we could leave each other alone. And then, you know, and also while beefing with Young Phonics too, but then there came a point where we were trying to make it right with him. So just not even to like fucking not forgiving them necessarily, but just really just to leave each other alone, because it was really getting to a point it was affecting everybody. It affected Raymond a lot, it affected me a lot, it affected Ghost a lot. So it was just back and forth beefing, right? So the cycle would go, me and Ghost hit Raymond up, apologize, try to talk over the phone, get closure, explain our points of view, explain our perceptions or whatever, and we'd find common ground, and we'd leave each other alone. We wouldn't talk about each other or whatever, and then Raymond would constantly hit us up all the time. He would not even hit us up, but he would post threatening us, and then he would DM us threatening him, and then we'd DM him back like, what the fuck is wrong with you? We had an agreement. And next thing you know, Raymond's like saying a bunch of other shit, and then we'd end up like beefing with him again. And then there came a point also in the middle of all this that kind of dropped a huge bombshell. So Ghost did a background check on Raymond, right? And everything lined up, right? The information lined up with his person, and it was public, right? Public information. Essentially, Raymond Brooks, age 30-something, right? Which was his age, his name, his area of Virginia, his address that he leaked out. And we found out that in 2011 in Middlesex, New Jersey, he got arrested and charged with sending obscene material to a minor and endangering the welfare of children. And there were a couple other charges that weren't shown, so I think those ones got vaulted or expunged, the ones that were not shown, the ones that we weren't able to see. So after that, after we put all that stuff out, Raymond had a huge fucking meltdown. At first he was saying it wasn't him. I gotta see if I have recording of this somewhere, but he ended up eventually admitting that it happened, but he was 21 at the time in 2011. So he said he directly, and I know he indirectly admitted it, he said that some chick was trying to set him up with somebody who was 12, and I guess he didn't know, which is kind of weird because you're 21 and you're supposed to know these things, like especially at that time, right? You're supposed to, like, you know, you card bitches, bro. Especially if you meet them at a fucking playground, you meet someone's friend. It's like one of the first things you ask a person, I think, if you're trying to court them. Like, so, like, how old are you? You know, and then fucking, or whatever. Like, hey, you know, I turned whatever, and then, you know, that's just a normal human thing. Especially when you're trying to bang somebody or trying to form something with them, because, you know, that is an important thing, you know. So it's like, you know, you didn't card her or anything like that, you know, whatever. You didn't, like, test that, you know, I don't know. He just said that some chick introduced him to another chick and basically set him up for some shit, and he said that they pressured him into fucking a confession or something. Like, he just changed his story a bunch of times as far as, like, all those charges went. He's like, I was never in fucking New Jersey, bro. And it's like, you never know, bro. You never know what you could do. I fucking went to Michigan, dude. Like, what do you mean? Like, there's all kinds of stuff that can happen in your life, bro. You can go to a bunch of different places and be doing a bunch of shit. I went to fucking Michigan. I went to goddamn a bunch of different places. And not once did I do anything like that. Not once was I fucking with someone I shouldn't have been fucking with like that. That's fucking weird. Um, like, at least, like, in that level, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck. Like, nah, bro. Like, I was unfaithful in certain relationships, but I wasn't fucking with anybody that was too young, which, both are bad things, but fucking with a minor, like, as a fucking adult like that, it's fucked, you know? But once we put all that out, it just escalated shit even more. And so eventually, I'm trying to think. Eventually, it did calm down, but then it got worse again. Then we were going like once again going months without talking to him or whatever, and he was still rambling. He was still posting his fucking schizo videos of him like talking about fucking how we sabotaged his music career as if he were to have one. He said we ruined his record deal, which he wasn't going to get a record deal because you don't just fucking do that shit just by email. You know what I mean? Like, how the hell are you going to get a record deal when your metrics aren't that good? Like, you get a record deal when you, like, he said he was going to get a record deal with Brian Silva or whatever, and he was going to be on Atlantic Records, but chances are that was a scam. Fuck, I'm trying to think too. But it was just a whole thing, man. It was just a whole fucking thing. Like, Brian Silva never really hit Raymond back after on that too. This is like way back. I'm backtracking like seriously far. But Raymond was like saying we sabotaged his fucking career and all that stuff, and he was like trying to make music to feed his family because Food Lion wasn't fucking enough, I guess. I don't know, man. So a bunch of shit happened in between, and the beef just kept fucking, as I said, the cycle kept going. So eventually some fucking wild shit happens, right? So this is another one of the funniest things that I had trolled Raymond with. So I was on Kick. I was talking to a bunch of degenerate furries, and I was single at this time. But pretty much like this one guy hits me up, and he had this anime profile picture, and he was all Roar XD, type of typing, like some 2008 Tumblr emo girl type shit. So I was like, all right, cool. So I hit this dude up, not even realizing he was a dude, and then he was like, hey, can I send pics? I was like, sure, I guess. Are you like, can I see your ID? And then he just fucking, I didn't get any ID, but he no joke sent me a video of him just stroking his fucking shit, and then he sent me a picture of his face with his mouth open. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, he was on, how's it pronounced? Ahigao? Right? He just sent me that shit without any provocation. I was just like, yeah, sure, I just need ID real quick. Because, like, you never know, right? Like, you gotta card bitches, dude. You gotta card bitches, especially with nudes, bro. Because, like, that's some serious fuckery. Right? That's some serious fuckery. So, basically, the dude's build was of Raymond's, but it wasn't Raymond at all. It was just some fucking skinny black dude. And so it was him stroking his fucking meat. And so I thought it would have been fucking hilarious. I sent it to Young Phonics. No, I sent it to Raymond saying that Young Phonics sent that to me. And I was like, bro, Raymond, why were you beating your fucking meat, bro? Why did you have to send that to another man? That's gay as fuck. And this was while they were, like, beefing. Like, they were on and off friends and beefing, too. Everybody was just on and off beefing, trying to figure shit out, I guess. I don't even know. So Raymond, at first was like, that ain't me. And then eventually he's like after a bunch of time, I gaslit him into fucking thinking he sent a fucking video of him stroking his meat to one of us. But in his head also, at certain points, he thought that we hacked into his shit. You must have hacked into my stuff if you had this fucking video of me jerking my Johnson, as he says. And it's like, no, it's just some random guy on Kick. And to this day, he believes that we got a hold of a video of him doing that shit. My theory is that he probably sent out so many videos of him fapping that he thought that was one of them. Because their rooms look a little similar, just different, like, like the same kind of wall, I guess, like they're beige, tan sort of deal. So like it didn't help at all. So I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? And that shit was funny as fuck. I ain't even gonna lie, man. But like, me and Ghost still laugh about that shit because it's like, bro, we gaslit this motherfucker into thinking that he sent us a meat video or that we got a hold of it. But anyways, nah. So yeah, it was shitty of me to fucking like, because I didn't even know the dude and he sent me a video, whatever, and I was really trying to card him, and so for all I know, I don't even know, but he definitely looked like an adult 1,000,000% of the way. Like this motherfucker had like a beard going on and shit, and fucking in the video himself, he sounded kind of grizzly, even though he was skinny as fuck. Like I don't know how to explain his voice. Like it was just a whole thing. Eventually, actually, he got caught fucking with minors, apparently, from what I heard around that time, too. And then just after that shit, a bunch of dudes were fucking, like, blowing his shit up and leaking his shit. And then fucking next thing you know, he just deleted Kick altogether. But anyways, but still, it was just very uncertain. So, like, that's what I feel like a dick about. But anyways, so there came another point where, Raymond was like, the threatening was getting out of control. He was threatening to kill, like, even for the longest time when I was a teenager, he was threatening to kill my family. He was threatening to kill me and my family. He kept telling me to give him my address. I gave him my address when I moved out of that one, and he thought it was fake, which was funny as fuck too. But no, so he would threaten to kill my mom and my family, and me. And then when I was like 13, 14. And then I was like 20, 21 at the time, I think. I don't even know how old I was. But then he eventually started threatening to kill babies and animals, right? He threatened Ghost, because Ghost put him to the test one time. Ghost was like, hey, like, this was actually like maybe last year, actually, where this happened. But Ghost put him to the test. He was like, dude, I have a baby on the way. And then fucking Raymond just threatens to kill his baby. He threatened to snap his baby's neck. He threatened to stab his baby with a knife. He said all this extremely horrible shit. And then that just reignited shit to a whole level of fuckery. So eventually, within that time frame, Ghost called the police on Raymond. And so the police showed up to Raymond's house, and then he shut up a while. Then Raymond came back and started threatening people even more on YouTube, and if his shit wasn't getting taken down, Ghost was calling the police on him. So, in total, I don't know how many times Ghost called the police on him. It was less than like give or take like 7 times, right? More or less. 6 times maybe 5. I don't know. But in total, up until this point, as far as I know, according to an officer that talked to Ghost about this, Raymond had like 8 police reports on him from around that time. And we ended up talking Young Phonics into calling the police on Raymond too, because Young Phonics actually wanted to put it down as well. And Raymond knew, Raymond had Young Phonics' docs. So pretty much so Young Phonics called the police on Raymond because Young Phonics, he had his docs. Even though they both were doxing each other. Like, Young Phonics literally had Raymond's shit and was putting it out completely. Like, I put out Raymond's charges. I didn't put out his fucking address. I didn't put out his number, vital information like that. Just his name, his age, and his charges, which were stuff that Raymond made abundantly clear. He made his age clear. He gave out his number numerous times. His name was also all over his YouTube channel for a long time, and that's what people know him as primarily. So, so it was just stuff that people already knew, as well as the charges. But Phonics, put out his name, number, address, all that shit. And Raymond found Young Phonics' docs, I don't know how, I guess from other people, and Raymond put out Young Phonics' docs and was threatening to kill him with his weird-looking pistol. So, Young Phonics called the police on Raymond. And he was about to file a police report until, he just didn't do it because fucking a bunch of court shit happened, and Young Phonics was like, bro, he'll definitely know where I live if I go to court. Because fucking then I'll have to disclose that information or whatever. I don't even know how that works. So, Young Phonics called the police on him, and I have access to the actual the calls, which is the funniest shit I've ever listened to. But after that, Ghost called the cops on Raymond one more time, or maybe once or twice after that, and it concluded like maybe 7 or 8 fucking calls about Raymond. But basically, Ghost called Raymond or the cops on Raymond one final time, and apparently Raymond didn't even go outside to talk to the cops. Raymond called the cops on the cops, trying to call them off on some Grand Theft Auto Lester shit, right? Trying to fucking like this, like, hey man, I didn't, like, no man, these police are out here, police, fucking, you guys gotta like leave me alone because I didn't do nothing. And then and it was so fucked up too, because before that, Raymond was straight up talking about like actually firing at the police with his gun. So then, not that long after that, right, he was like talking real ballsy, and next thing you know, he's not even coming out of his room. Like in my headcanon, Raymond like boarded up the fucking front door with a couch or something, and he's just hiding in his room on some Breaking Bad fucking Gus sent you to do his work type shit, you know? Like that's my headcanon, but Raymond did not, like, Raymond self-admitted that he hid in his room and called the police on the police. So, then Dipey Jr. came along and he started trolling Raymond too. He would so this was like the most recent stuff. So Dipey Jr. So pretty much this is like during the calm of all this. This is still in the calm, I think. So Dipey Jr. was now he's still a kid. He's like 16 now, but me and him, so we met through Guacamole Nigga Penis, I think, and then, or V4 Records. I don't even remember actually. I think it was V4 Records. V4 Records found me. Portray found me through Guacamole, right? So pretty much V4 Portray found me. I was a part of his collective, I guess. I was associated with his collective, I guess. And Dipey Jr., back then it was DJ and Derek, now it's Dipey Jr., so he became a part of the collective too, and I became friends with him because he's a good dude. He's funny as fuck. And we're from almost the same area. So, pretty much, I was filling him in on lore. We were just bullshitting and just talking a lot because that's my dude. And so, like, we collaborate a lot now, but pretty much I filled him in on the lore. Because pretty much, like, I was posting about Raymond. I was posting some of the recordings of the calls that I had with Raymond, and of Raymond, like, putting himself in bad positions conversationally. Raymond, like, one time we called Raymond to ask him about the playlists that he had, as well as a bunch of other stuff. We were calling him out for all that stuff, and he just dug himself a hole. He dug himself such a deep fucking hole. He kept saying shit that just made him look worse. So I posted snippets of that during the midst of our beef. And I was also posting about JJ Blanco because Raymond had JJ's docs, and that scared JJ because Raymond has a gun and he has his information, whatever. Like, Raymond always threatens to kill people. That's the thing. He probably threatened someone before breakfast this morning. So it's like, that's nothing new. So it's like, why are you scared of this guy? Maybe also JJ was bored and didn't, I don't know. But we were also beefing with JJ too after that stuff. We were just saying a bunch of fucked up shit to him and whatever. But, let me see. As far as JJ, I told Raymond, like, bro, if you send me like fucking like $200 or $40, I'll take everything down about you, right? Because I knew Raymond didn't have money, and then JJ sent me that money, and I just ended up taking it down, which is fucked up. Because it's like JJ, I feel, wanted to be cool with all of us, just to have the fucking weight off his shoulders and stuff. But I don't even know. I don't know why he was even talking to Raymond in the first place. But anyways, So anyways, back to the main thing right now. So Dipey Jr. started trolling Raymond too after he saw the stuff and I explained the lore. And Raymond was like, "Still harassing me, bro." I wasn't even harassing him. I didn't even talk about him all the way up until this point. I would like collaborate on little songs and make like little allusions to Raymond, to references about Raymond. But apart from that, I never like fucking spoke out about him, anything like that, all the way up until I made this. And the Young Phonics beef is still ongoing. Like, I guess kind of like I haven't heard from him personally. Like he, like, since Dipey Junior is Dipey Junior and I'm Dipey Man, fucking um Phonics thought I was making videos about him, but it was just Dipey Junior. So I don't know. But that's another thing too, man. It's like there's so much shit I left out. Like there's like little intricate things, like how Raymond would argue and what he would argue about. Like in specific, I remember this one time back in like 2022, he was defending him hooking up with 16-year-olds. I don't know if he did or didn't, but he was talking about like, dude, you're old enough to drive. You're like an adult, man. You're a fucking adult. So like, if you're 16 and you drive, you're also the age of consent. I should be able to, And I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, dude, a lot of girls now act more grown and they look more grown, and it's the age of consent. Like he just kept going on about all this weirdo shit. It's like, bro, you're in your 30s. You can't find a woman your own age. Why you're fixated on fucking the age of consent being the moral basis to fucking like to hooking up and being in a relationship and shit? That's weird. It would have been the parents of the kids. Like, and it's like, bro, that doesn't matter. What are we in the fucking 1400s? You know what I mean? Like, bro, you're gonna fucking, here's a cow and 4 donkeys. I want your daughter's hand in marriage so I can beat her. Whatever. Like, it's just not very cool. And there was also a bunch of other stuff too. Like Raymond wouldn't really hold himself accountable to any of this stuff at all. Like he would not really hold himself accountable to shit. Instead, he would just point at Tony, and he would just be like, "What about Tony, bro? What about fucking blah blah blah?" And it's like, bro, that's not relevant anymore. Like I made a bad judgment call, but that's as far as my part goes, right? Everybody that like everything that was said about Tony, like eventually over time, I did talk about Tony. But over time, it became irrelevant because Raymond ended up reinstating that playlist with the Catch Me Outside girl on his current channel, except everything's hidden now. So, but we recorded that stuff when it was still up, which was like not even maybe a year ago, and we recorded it before that in 2, I think, as far as I know. Like, he still had that stuff, and it was still being updated, and he was like, no, that wasn't me, bro. It's like, why are these comments... Like, why do they type like you do? Raymond has a distinct way of typing and stuff. So it's like, it's either a really good impersonator, which, like, why are they committing to the bit, like, even now when you're not... You're only a couple people are focused on you. It's not funny to make fun of you anymore. This has to be some big elaborate thing, which the most elaborate anything's gotten was fucking people, like, was just us getting your account information and making midget porn. Like, that was, like, the only elaborate thing that was really done as far, besides, like, the jerking off video, which, who the fuck is going to be wasting time updating a playlist just to make you look bad when there's all this other shit that was already there for a long time? You threatening to kill babies, animals, families, you fucking telling underage people to give you your address, or to give you their address so you can hurt them and kill them. All these videos of you waving a fucking weird ass gun around like you mean business. Like, that's not cool. Like, all that stuff's already out there. So who the hell is going to be like managing your fucking goon playlist and leaving a bunch of comments responding to people in your specific handwriting and vernacular? You know what I mean? Like, who's committing to that? Nobody, because nobody gives a shit like that. I mean, the only person that gives a shit about trolling you is fucking Dipey Jr. And that's because Dipey Jr. Like here's the thing. That's because like he doesn't even have access to that kind of information. So you have to have information. Like, you have to have your own login at that point. Like, there's no one that's committing to that bit for that long. That's just not real. And if it is, then shit. Give me $1 million. Because I'm wrong, and I deserve $1 million. But anyways, not. So yeah, he was saying all kinds of weird shit about me being a fucking narcissist. Pretty much trying to diagnose me with shit, trying to diagnose ghosts with shit too. He was also posting like snippets from music videos that he would listen to. It's like, bro, you're not thugging. And also, there's another troll thing that happened too. So, me and Ghost were on the phone with all these other people. Raymond was actually on Instagram for a bit until we got him taken down for harassing us and violating the terms of services, right? So basically, I took like a bunch of Google pictures and like Google Earth images of the food lion that like is in his area, but I got the pictures of him at nighttime. So I was sending them in the chat like they were pictures because you can do that on Insta. Like I was like taking like I was like sending those as photos, and so like instead of like sending it right out from my gallery, I just went to my picture thing where I could take a picture, scrolled up, and then put a photo of the food line there and in the parking lot. And then I would go outside and then like try to corroborate that like by walking in a parking lot and a bunch of other stuff. And same with everybody else. We're like, bro, we're at the food line over here. And we had Raymond literally drive out on a scooter. He was hunting us down. And he could have hurt somebody. But we really tricked this guy into thinking we were out there, which was really fucking funny. But yeah, there's a bunch of details I didn't mention. Like JWS the One challenging Raymond to go boxing with him. Fucking, and a bunch of other stuff too. But present day, nothing's really going on. It's just Raymond blaming us for his music career failing because Raymond, I mean, that's the thing. Raymond's music sucks even now, but it's just not as entertaining as it used to be. Besides, like, it being a little bit quotable. Scars on my neck and she thinks I'm filthy. Like, sometimes, like, the way he says entity is funny as fuck, or entity, whatever. She thinks I'm an entity. So, like, sometimes I'll just be like, yo, that's an entity, or some shit. Or just like, I don't give a who. But beyond that, he hasn't really made any music. He hasn't really been posting anything. He still thinks that, like, tone is relevant. He still thinks that I'm a narcissist. He still thinks of all this stuff. And at the end of the day, I think basically the beef's over. But I just wanted to let you guys know this from my perspective. Shit, there's like so much lore behind all these characters too, all kinds of moments. So yeah, this is a fucking bunch of craziness. A bunch of stuff I left out, but I don't even know if I'll make a follow up or not. But yeah, Raymond's a freaking lunatic, and I hope he gets help. Because it took having to call the cops on him a bunch of times for him to tone it down even a little bit. But even then, he only toned it down for a little bit. He didn't really do nothing. He just went right back to it. He's just like, I don't know what I can say. Oh yeah, he also talked about raping people too. At certain points as well. Like he said he was going to, or that like he said young Phonics' sister looked rapeable or something like that one time, which is gross. He said that 15, 16 is basically an adult. Like, there's just so much shit. So much weirdo shit. And I'm tired. It's like 4:46 in the morning. I gotta be up in like 3.5 hours. But might make a follow-up, might not. But that's the story.